Condemnation of Bonucci's comments was widespread over the last 24 hours. Just one example here, Raheem Sterling. The blame is 50-50. All you can do now is laugh. Well, as we go to air, Bonucci has released this statement saying, after 24 hours, I want to clarify my feelings. Yesterday, I was interviewed right at the end of the game. My words have been clearly misunderstood, probably because I was too hasty in the way I expressed my thoughts. Hours and years wouldn't be enough to talk about this topic. I firmly condemn all forms of racism and discrimination. The abuses are not acceptable at all, and this must not be misunderstood. To be honest, Paolo, I don't want to dwell too much on that apology. I think it's too little, too late. What I'm intrigued in is the reaction pretty much from everyone else has been shock from what Bonucci has said. What was the reaction within Italy?
Yeah, I think it was more muted in Italy than it was internationally, which in itself tells you a story. It, of course, made it into all of the papers. It, of course, was a big feature in all of the papers. But I think a surprising number of the reports that I read in the newspapers this morning, they were really sort of focusing on, we didn't hear much of this racism or the chanting until after the goal had been scored. It was a reaction to this. There was a lot of this sort of equivocating, a lot of this saying, Ken could have done something differently as well. And I found it, very... to me, it struck a wrong note, a lot of the coverage that I saw in Italy. And I think it was... it does give you an indication of why this is such a big problem to address, because it isn't just about people being racist inside a stadium. It's about cultural values. It's about how a whole society acts, of course, and you're addressing something like this.
Obviously, Bonucci's put out this apology.
Which is pathetic. Because he came out and said it's 50-50. What absolutely ludicrous thing to say, that a young man has to temper his celebration as to what? Not to incite racism from the crowd. What utter dross from Bonucci. Honestly, you couldn't make it up. And as Paolo said, it's absolutely damning of the Italian press that the hammer has not come down here on Bonucci and everybody else involved. The fact that they're soft soaping this tells you all you need to know about what's going on. Not from everybody, from a lot of people inside that country.
Within the locker room, you would hope for an apology from Bonucci to Ken as well, obviously.
I would certainly hope so. The first thing that I thought about with that, though, was who actually wrote that? Was it one Bonucci?
No. Midweek action in Serie A, and compared to the Premier League, where pretty much everything went to plan regarding the race for the Champions League, you could not say the same here. 18 points now, the difference between Napoli and Juventus. Napoli losing against Empoli. Meanwhile, big shock, Spal beating Lazio by 1-0. Elsewhere, Roma 2, Fiorentina 2. The big winner from all the matches, surely, Inter Milan, a 4-0 victory over Genoa. We've talked about it a lot on the show, Paolo. Icardi back in the starting 11, back on the score sheet. Inter back to their winning ways.
Yeah, what a shock that Inter look more efficient up front when they actually play a centre-forward, which is Icardi or no one at the moment, because Lautaro Martinez is injured, of course. But yeah, not just a goal tonight. He also hit the post, and I think most significantly of all, he set up one for Ivan Perisic. Now, there was a lot of observation going on through this game that Ivan Perisic was not passing Mauro Icardi the ball a lot, but yes, Perisic, who's been made out as the sort of the chief of perhaps the anti-Icardi camp in the changing room, definitely got a very nice through ball from Icardi for his goal. So from a footballing point of view, from the race for the top four point of view, it couldn't have gone better for Inter. You get Icardi back, you get him scoring, you get him setting up his teammates, you get him involved. Whether or not it's healed all of these rifts, well, time will tell us, but certainly good from a footballing standpoint.
Paolo, for those who didn't see the game, what were the celebrations like after Icardi had the assist, after his penalty? Was it a group hug? What do we see?
Oh, really fascinating little subplot, I thought, the celebrations of this game. Yes, I think basically every Inter player came over to celebrate with Icardi after he scored, but there was a wide gap, I would say, in the enthusiasm with which they did so. Perisic gave him a little pat, but Nainggolan came tearing forward and gave him a great big bear hug. Interesting also the reaction of the fans, of course, because the Curva Nord ultras, the sort of hardline group of ultras for Inter, had put out a statement before this game saying, this is it, we're done with Icardi, we don't want to see him again, we're sick of him. And when his goal went in, it was the cameras were on them, and you could see a few fans instinctively start to celebrate, but the Capi, the guys who lead the chants at the front, were immediately gesturing no celebrations, everyone piped down, and for the most part they did. So the fans, or at least that section of the fans, because we should always specify that the ultras do not represent the whole fan base, but that section of them, I think, is going to be very, very hard to win back for Icardi at this point.
This is some soap opera, some drama. Can you just put aside everything when you walk onto the pitch for the better of the team as a professional?
I think we used this before, that Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole at Man United were never really on speaking terms, but had a very good partnership. Whether it's disintegrated into this, I don't know. Look, stop the press. You know, Inter Milan are a better team with Icardi in the side. That's it's a no-brainer. But think about it from a player's point of view. If, when I was playing, a teammate's wife, who was the agent, was going on television on a regular basis and slagging me off, then every morning when I go to training and I get into the changing room, I'm only heading one place, and I'm heading over to him. And I'm telling him what I think. I know he should be telling his wife to pack it in. And that's happening apparently with more than one player. And so you can imagine how poisonous it is when a player walks in. A dressing room is a place that you're supposed to go in during the week, and you're looking forward to go in there Monday to Friday, get a bit of banter, slag your mate off, have a laugh, chill out a little bit. I can only imagine it's the complete opposite in this dressing room at the moment.